Hi, it's Steve from This Day in Metal. I'm joined by Fury's Julian Jenkins. Julian, thanks for joining the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Great. I exciting news from a few months ago that I wanted to start our discussion with a new record deal for the band with Mighty Music. I guess could you speak to how that came about and why you guys are excited about your partnership with Mighty?
Yeah, it's an exciting time. We've always, up until this point, been an independent band, so it's the first record deal we've ever had. We just thought it was time, really, and it came about. Obviously, we were recording the new album, and we just thought, yeah, it's time to sort of. I think we've got to the point where we can do maybe as much as we can as an independent band.
Yep.
I think we've still been progressing, but I think it's time, we need someone else to help us expand further and get out to more people. And so yeah, we sent a few emails out. Someone recommended us Mighty Music, so we got in touch with them, and they were very excited to work with us. It was quite nice actually because they said, oh, actually, they weren't thinking about taking on any new bands for I think like a couple of years or something like that, but they really wanted to work with us. So that's really good to hear. It's really really nice. And yeah, so very excited, and obviously being a European label, we are starting to sort of break out more and more into Europe and do more European shows. So hopefully, we'll get out to more of an audience in Europe as well as well as the rest of the world.
Of
But
course.
yeah, we're excited. So I can't remember exactly what I'm allowed to
That's fine.
say about from the record deal, but it was suffice to say we're really happy with it. It's an exciting time for us, and yeah, we can't wait to see the results and see what happens.
I actually have because I have all your records. When I purchased them through your site, Becky actually mailed me like from the UK packaging. She signed the paperwork to mail it to the US.
That's
So I was
it.
like, oh wow, look who signed this.
And that's what's it's getting a bit much because I mean obviously we're still going to be doing obviously the merch, we're still going to be doing our own merch, but if you buy the new record that will be sent from Mighty Music rather than us doing it, which is good. I mean, because it's with the UK now trying to ship stuff out to Europe or the rest of the world has become increasingly more difficult.
Yeah.
We kind of screwed ourselves over with Brexit because it's it's made things like this a lot more difficult. Not to get too political, but it has there's no two ways about it. Like it's become a lot more difficult shipping stuff out, and also we're receiving the volume of orders we're receiving now more than ever. So yeah, it's getting more difficult to do it independently, and this is another big reason why we thought it was time to get some help.
It's great. When as far as new music coming out, rumor has it that there's a new single on its way.
There is a new single out on Friday, um
June 13th. Yep.
the 13th. That's it. Yeah, great date to release new music.
Friday the
uh
13th, yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I don't know if we've announced that. It's a bit of a weird one because, but basically, I'll tell you because it's the title track of the album. I think that's probably an exclusive. We haven't actually announced the album.
Yeah, that's exciting because I didn't know there wasn't a title confirmed for the album.
That's it. But yeah, that Interceptor. I think we're announcing that it's going to be the title track on Friday. I imagine we
Oh,
are.
great.
So, but yeah. So the title track of the album, it is very us. Like it's definitely the most us track on the album. By that I mean, it's fast, it's got big riffs, solos, big vocals, it's about cars. It's definitely the most say Fury track on the album.
So it's a grand prize-esque song then. That's that sort of idea.
Yeah. But I
Although
think I
Born to
think
Born to Sin's pretty similar. I feel like Grand Prize is the most up tempo, but Born to Sin's a great record too. Yeah, those that evolution sonically was great.
Yeah, and I think this really does fit right in there with those albums. Um, it's again we always try to keep, I guess, the core of us, which is fun, fast, exciting music, and then we always try and bring in a few different things. throw in a few curveballs. Sometimes people like them. Sometimes they're like, oh, I'm not so sure about that. Sometimes they don't like it to begin with, and then they grow on them. But even, I mean, even on the Grand Prize when we first did, we did Upon the Lonesome Tide, and that was very divisive. People were like, oh, this is a proper ballad, and it's got strings, and people. But then I think especially when they heard it a few times, or when they came and we played it live, and they're like, oh, okay, I get it now. But I always like to throw in, some stuff to keep things interesting. I think if every song would just burn out, for example, you get bored because it was like, where's the variety?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just like it's up tempo, one up tempo track after another. And like you said, there's diversity on those two albums in particular. I mean, I find it really interesting, and stylistically, it's really unique for a hard rock metal band as far as the lineup. Obviously the two guitars, but the vocals in particular, the way that you guys prioritize vocal harmonies and vocal exchanges, is really unique and enhances the sound a lot. Like, because that's not something you see very often. Like you're saying, as far as experimenting, hard rock metal to have typically it's a lead vocalist, maybe some backing vocals from a guitar player, something like that, but not the way you guys place an emphasis on vocals. Like it's really up front and center. Different styles of vocals. That's you stand out when you hear your music.
That's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, that's great. Yeah. I mean, like I say, there has been a focus on vocals, and I think as we've gone through the album as well, like more emphasis has been placed on the vocals, and it adds that just like you say that extra layer. So it's you get those harmonies, and then it got to a point where obviously on this next album, like Naya is now full on, she's doing lead vocals as
Yeah.
well. Whereas obviously on previous albums, I mean, Naya came in, I think she did some backing harmonies on the Grand Prize.
Mm-hmm.
She did a lot of backing harmonies on Born to Sin,
Yeah.
and then it was like, well, you're just a member of the band now, aren't you? So like,
Mm-hmm.
and she's got an incredible voice. So then it seemed silly to just have her doing backing vocals when she got such an amazing
Of
voice.
course.
So yeah, so on this album, and that's going to be a big thing with this album. She's doing a lot more lead vocal, and one thing I'm really happy with, and obviously the proof will be in the pudding when the album comes out and see what people think. But I think we balanced it really well because I think it's we could have just arbitrarily gone, well, here's a song, I'll do the first verse, you do the second verse, we both do the chorus, and you just do that for every song.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas what I think, I like to think what we've done is balance it really well and given a reason. Okay, so why is this person singing this part? Why is this person singing this part? And it kind of makes sense. So I hope so. Anyway, fingers crossed. I think we have.
Yeah. What song, as far as the songwriting is concerned, I guess who, how do you write your songs? Who writes, do you write your own vocal melodies? Like, who writes what?
So generally, I'll write the sort of the chords, a lot of the vocal melodies, the riffs, all that sort of stuff. So, and I'll sort of demo the songs, and then so by the time we kind of get to all jamming them or playing them together, there's normally you can kind of hear a song there, so it's got the structure already, and things might change.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Becky will had her bass lines on. Like, I won't tend to write the bass lines because Becky's a far better bass player than I am, so wouldn't make any sense for me to write the bass line. I mean, sometimes you might have an idea. You go, in my head, I could hear the bass going a bit like this, or especially if it's like a big part of the song. But generally, and especially if there's like a bass solo, or everyone will write their own kind of parts. Like Fenn will write his own drum parts. I've tended, obviously we've got new guitarist with Tom Atkinson on this record, but with Tom and previous guitarists, I guess I've got maybe a bit more input being a guitarist myself, and maybe we're back and forth about certain
Mm-hmm.
things, about certain lead parts. Now, I mean, normally when it comes to just the out and out guitar solos, I'm just like, right, you take care of that because I'm not much of a shredder. I can do some simple lead lines,
Mm-hmm.
but normally if it's like, yeah, okay, this needs a shreddy solo, so there you go. That's your kind of time to shine. And then obviously, it was a bit different with this album because generally previous albums, even though Naya was doing all the backing vocals on the last album, when it came to lead vocal lines, the melodies, and the lyrics to some extent, but obviously it was all me singing them. So I wrote it for myself. I didn't really have to think about, okay, I'm writing this melody now for someone else to sing something. Whereas
Of
with
course.
this album, there was a bit more of, okay, well, if I knew Nia was doing a song, I guess what's going to suit her more than me, and trying things out. And there's a few places where again I'm quite happy with. I'm really proud of how we've used Nia's voice uh, in different ways. Obviously, she's there singing, a regular vocal on a song, but then, doing some extra bits that maybe I wouldn't do. So again, I'm quite happy with how we've done it. And then, so yeah, getting back to your question, um, essentially, yeah, I'll take what is the spine of a song, the base of a song, and then everyone will put their own bits on. Nia did have a lot more to do with lyric writing on this album. Like we wrote lyrics together for a lot of the album. So yeah, and I'm happy with how it's turned out.
One thing you mentioned, as far as it feels like everybody, at least in your past records, there's everybody's showcased. Everybody's role is showcased to a degree, like you were saying, whether it's the lead vocals, bass, bass leads, like bass solos, the guitar playing. It feels like it's really a collaboration, like a true band, as opposed to one or two people who really take the lead. The lead guitarist and the vocalist, and everybody else plays about an equal role. Here, there's opportunities for everybody to shine, and it feels like, and as far as watching, I've never seen you live, but there's from what YouTube videos, social media, as well as the music videos. I want to touch on the music videos in a moment. There's a lot of energy and a lot of chemistry, and it feels like everyone's having fun. And the videos in particular, the videos really show, I feel like, the band's personality, and maybe the members collectively. They're unique in the sense that they feel like they're fun videos, probably fun to record. People just having fun. You're filming their parts, whether it's individually or a group shot. So are you planning to? I assume you are planning to release videos in connection with the new album.
Yep, absolutely. I think we've already got is it 4 or 5 videos
Oh
filmed? We
wow!
actually filmed one Friday, so but yeah. And I'm glad you said that, because yeah, I mean, fun is definitely a part of what we do. Rock and roll should be fun, right? Like, or heavy metal should be fun. I think that is one thing I notice sometimes with rock and metal. It gets, especially like kind of nowadays, sometimes maybe bands miss out on the fun. It's all like, oh, it's serious and it's got to
It's
be,
too dark, too serious. Yeah.
that's it. Or it goes the other way and it's novelty. So
Mm-hmm.
it's sort of like, I'm trying to think of a good example, but yeah, like it's either, yeah, very serious, or just completely novelty and almost comedy then.
Yeah.
But I think, you look back at the bands of the past, like it was fun, energetic music, and you can get serious, and you can have, and
Of
we
course.
have, more serious songs and more somber songs. Not loads of them, but like, I mean, we played a show on Sunday, and actually there was the sound tech said, oh yeah, I really like that. I could feel the energy, and again I could feel the fun. You're having fun on stage, and it's like, yeah, because you come to a rock show, a metal show, whatever it is, and you want to have some fun. Like you want to have a few beers, and sometimes you don't want to hear about, oh, the world's in a terrible state, and or you want to hear just a bit of rock and roll, and you're
Of
there
course.
just to forget everything else.
Yeah, and exactly to your point, it's authentic music. I also think it's very sing along music. The vocal, the big choruses, obviously both the vocals from both of you. It's very sing along. Backing vocals for some songs. It's like I noticed with the crowd reactions, the crowd engagement. That's important too, because there's a lot of energy at those shows, not only on stage but in the audience too.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always try and kind of um work with the audience and get them involved. And normally it doesn't take too much. Normally we do the first couple of songs and they're already there, sort of they're wanting more. And again, I think it comes back to that energy as well. Um, But yeah, like I mean, in terms of the melodies and stuff like that, I mean, I listen to and have historically listened to lots of different music. I mean, obviously, I love rock and love metal and all that stuff. Um, but I mean, I'm big into like kind of folk music and sea shanties and all this sort of stuff. And again, like so that those melodies and those almost like sing along bits are kind of all in there as well.
There's an
Um,
element to the Van Halen vocal arrangements that I feel like I hear in your music, as far as like the lead but prominent backing. At least in some instances, or different parts where you're sharing the leads. Um, I group choruses, things like that. That was, because I was trying to figure out where was the genesis of the vocals, because it's a unique, the way your songs are arranged. The vocals are very unique, and I was like, there's a Van Halen element to me. For I see that, and obviously like a compliment, because
oh yeah.
legendary.
Well, I think, I mean, I think I write a lot of stuff, not everything, but a lot of stuff for me starts with like a vocal melody, and I might not have the whole melody for the
Yep.
entire song, but sometimes I'll be like, oh, I want a song that feels like, and quite often I'll just sort of almost just like riffing melodies in my head, um. And so I think maybe that's unique to a lot of bands, where a lot of bands will just start with, okay, I'll play these chords and what goes over these chords. Where with me, it's sort of like, well, let's sing the melody and then we'll find the chords that go along with it. Because in
Yep.
a way, it's a bit more kind of freeing because the melody can be exactly what it needs to be, and we'll find the chords. Now, it's not exclusive. Like I've definitely done. I'm pointing down here because I got a guitar down here.
Mhm.
Uh, but I've definitely come up, been just noodling on the guitar, and you hit something, go, oh, actually, that was quite nice, and start a song that way. And I think, trying to do things in different ways, it is good. Like, start from a different place. So, whether it's starting with a vocal melody, starting with a guitar riff, or a drum pattern, it leads to different and more interesting sort of things.
Yeah. Well, speaking of concerts, I know you mentioned you just played a show recently. Over the next few months, you've got club shows, huge festival events, a lot of them in the UK. I think in the past you played major events like Download and Bloodstock. Any favorite festival experiences, or just sometimes the intimate show is the best experience? Any particular venues or shows that come to mind in terms of something that you'll look back on as a really fond memory?
Oh yeah, I mean loads. You're right. Sometimes the intimate shows are really nice. Although my, if you ask me to pick, and funny enough, I got asked this in an interview not so long ago, and they said, "Oh, what's your favorite festival memory?" And for me, it's when we did Download, because that, I mean, we did it. Was that 3 years ago? I think 3 years ago and 2 days ago, something like this. And it was the day before my birthday. So it was June the 8th.
Oh, well,
And
happy birthday! If
oh,
your
okay,
birthday
thank
was
you, thank
2
you,
days ago.
thank you. Um, and we had like I think it was like a 40-minute set or something like that. It was a short set, so it has to be snappy, snappy, snappy. We didn't get a lot of chance to kind of talk, but it was just before I think we played the last song, which was Casino Soleil. And I said to the audience, and there was a big audience, I don't know, a few thousand people, um and they were great. They were really into it, and because we were a bit worried because we were like, oh, I don't know, like it was, because we were playing like early in the day, and it was early in the weekend. I think it was
Yep.
even Wednesday or something like that. And we were like, is anyone going to be there? And it's like, of course, people are going to be there. It's
They
like a
camp out.
yeah, 100,000+ festival. Like the place was packed. Um, and it was great. We had a great atmosphere. And then yeah, before the final song, I said to the crowd, I was like, look, it's my birthday tomorrow. And obviously Maiden were headlining this weekend, right? This is a Download. And I said, look, I'm going to be a bit cheeky, but as it's my birthday tomorrow, can you scream for me, Donington? And like, because I've grown up watching the Maiden videos, all that sort of stuff.
Of course.
And like, the whole place just like this. And it was like, that was just incredible. Like it was a bit corny, it was a bit cheesy, but I was like, fuck it, it's my birthday
Yeah, but you
tomorrow.
only
I'm gonna
get,
do it. I'm
you know
gonna do it.
what? That's a unique opportunity. Like you said, Maiden's headlining the festival at Donington. It's appropriate. And
Yeah,
you know
that's
it's your
it.
birthday, so you get to do what you want on your birthday.
That's it. That's what I thought. And do you know what the really cool thing is? Like, yeah, the crowd went crazy. We finished the set. It was amazing. We had a great time. And then obviously the following day when I was sort of walking around, and people were like, "Oh, you played yesterday?" I was like, "Yeah." And I said, "It was really good." And they, "It's your birthday today, isn't it?" It's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Can I buy you a drink?" It's like, "Yes, you can."
Then you get to ride the weekend out. It's
That's
100,000
it.
people
That's
figured
it.
this out.
That's it. But
The
yeah, I mean,
as far
that
as
was incredible.
touring, I'm sorry.
No, so that was incredible. I mean, in terms of like kind of general shows, I mean, there's almost too many to pick, but a very sort of special, well, run of dates really for us was the end of 2023, when you supported Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons in Europe. And out of those shows, there was one that really stood out, which was we played in backstage in Munich, and it was just again, it was just incredible. Like, when it's just right. Like the crowd are really up for it. That it's the perfect venue. It sounds great. Everything. I mean, the whole tour was fantastic, but that date really stands out. And they did really good food there as well.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's a perk. That's something you
That's it.
remember. There are bands that go back to particular venues because they're very hospitable hosts.
Oh, absolutely.
The as far as touring for the new record, I know that's dates are being. I guess you release the dates at the when you're ready to do so. Do you anticipate obviously touring in support of that? Continuing the tour.
Yep, absolutely. I don't think we've actually announced when the album's coming
Yeah,
out yet.
that's why I was
Yeah,
reserved
yeah.
on that point.
Oh, I think it's gonna getting announced on Friday.
Oh,
Um,
great.
but if people look at our tour dates, they'll see that there is a whole cluster of dates from September onwards. So, I'm not saying anything, but and so yeah, we are going around the UK kind of first of all, um, and to be honest, we are a lot of the bulk. I think touring will probably be next year at the moment. So we're planning things for next year. I think we're announcing like one or two festivals for next year as well. Like in a few days' time. Like we're doing this interview like just before everything's going to get announced, basically.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, up until then, we've got some shows and some festivals and some. I mean, we're going to Germany in a couple of weeks. We've got a few shows. We're playing a festival out there called Rock and Metal Days Festival. We're coming back to the UK. We've got Made of Stone Festival coming up. Hella Rock Festival. And then yeah, from sort of September onwards, we've got quite a few dates in the UK. And then I'm well, I know next year we're going to be back out in Europe again. It's just not been announced yet.
Any possibility of North America at any point? I'm asking in self-interest, but have to
Maybe.
ask.
I mean, we keep getting asked to go. Obviously, that's all reliant on. I mean, basically, someone's got to fund us getting over
Of
there
course.
essentially, or whether it's we get on a support slot with a band. So yeah, we hope so. We hope so at some point. I know there was talk of there was talk of South America at some point. But again, it's you get emails and sometimes like you kind of follow it and sometimes it just drops off or sometimes these things come to fruition, but hopefully, yeah. I mean, obviously there's nothing at the moment, but I mean, maybe with this the record label and if they word spreads far enough, it can happen. But yeah, that would be incredible.
Yeah, that'd be great because the European shows, it seems like you've been active for years. Like I said, the everything I've seen on social media, the crowds are really engaged with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we're really starting to make headway, in and through Europe. And again, playing with Phil Campbell, that really helped with that. And now, going with a European label is hopefully going to push us out into Europe sort of even more. So yeah, like it's great. And we love kind of playing in Europe as well. Like it's, that like you talk about hospitality, like European hospitality is fantastic, honestly. Obviously, the US would be great. It's obviously a bit further to travel. Like
Yeah,
Europe is
across the
just across
pond
the
is a hike.
yeah, yeah. So, but yeah, I touch wood. One day soon, hopefully, we'll be out there.
Yeah, that would be exciting. But I appreciate. I'm glad that we got to discuss some exciting news coming up, and I look forward to the release, all the forthcoming releases. And hopefully after the album's released, we can chat again about the new record, and then the plans going forward after that.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, it'd be good to do a bit of a, see what you think about it.
Oh, I'm sure I'll love it. I listen to I have all four albums, but I listen to Grand Prize and Born to Sin as much as any album that I have from the last 5 years. The releases within the decade, I listen to those as much as any other, which is why I reached out to talk about what's going on with the band. When I saw the new record label announcement, that's what spurred me to reach out, because I thought, okay, it could mean some releases on the horizon. And then I saw the tour dates, so I was cautiously optimistic about it. But yeah, no, I've been a big, and that's one of the beauties of just stumbling on a band. Like stumbling onto a band. It was either through Spotify, some recommended music, or something on YouTube where I listened to band A, and then your song came up next, something like that. And stumbling onto new bands is always exciting. So when I came across you guys, actually, it may have been when Becky was in Merciful. It may have been in connection with that, because I saw Merciful in 2022 in New York City, and obviously she was on bass. It was probably around the same time as that, where she was announced as the bass player, and I'm like, oh, who's that? And then I looked into it, and then listened to you guys a lot on social, and then ordered all the records. So I was excited to discover it. It was great.
That's cool. That's good. It's cool to hear. Yeah, I mean, obviously when she got announced as Merciful Fate bass player, and yeah, we went on tour with them and did various shows with them. Like it was really good for us as well, because a lot of the things would say, oh yeah, bass player with Fury as well. So people are like, oh yeah, who's that? And checked us out. And
that's how a few of my friends also discovered. People who went to the Merciful show, or in advance of the show or after the show, were like, oh, that's a new member, because it wasn't one of the the Hank Sherman, obviously King. I'm like, oh, it's a new member of the band that's touring. So that obviously brought attention. So it was great. But I appreciate the time, and it was great to speak with you, Julian. And I'm excited I'm excited the announcements coming up in the next very soon time.
That's it. I'll say, well, new single out on Friday. You have to let us know what you think. But yeah, no, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Julian. I'll talk to you soon. I look forward to the updates coming up in the next few days.
Thank you very much. Speak to you soon.
Julian. All right. Have a good day. All right. Bye.